wishes. Spring has sprung. Yes. Very well. Stop fighting! Beautiful. Gotta cool off. Of course. Let's go. Time for a swim? Yes. Best wishes. All right. Well. Let's go. Yes. Very well. Tropical attack. Best wishes. Spring has sprung. Time for a swim? Beautiful. Yes. All right. Best wishes, of course. Gotta cool off. Well. Time for a swim? Spring has sprung. Yes.
This map is a nightmare. Hey everyone, GuardianE here with another Abyssal Clear video in Fire Emblem Heroes, this time taking on the legendary Dragon Tiki in her very own Legendary Hero Battle special map. In the playthrough that you just saw, every single movement, placement, and order was deliberate and calculated. One wrong or different move or done in a different order, and it's game over. I gotta say that if the Abyssal maps keep up like this, I may have to end up merging my Camillas for these clears, because there were a ton of moments where I was one or two attack, speed, or defense away from being okay, and I had to completely change my strategy because it wasn't going to work. So I'll get into the more specifics in the play-by-play, but part of the reason why this map is just so ridiculous, for Camilla Emblem specifically, is because there are a lot of really powerful red mages. Now, I stand by the point that Camilla Emblem is one of the strongest teams in the entire game. However, red mages are a huge threat to the team, since the best mage tank is Vanilla Camilla, and she just happens to be green, so she's color disadvantaged against red mages. The map itself is pretty tightly cornered. I mean, you're really just in this box that doesn't really allow a whole lot of movement. There's this one defensive tile up here, you've got these trenches, but really, you're not, you really have a quadrant of the map to work with. You don't have the level of freedom that you do on some of these open plain maps. These trenches here are actually deceptively evil. And I say that because you think that they would be on your side by preventing the cavalry from moving forward and prevent them from, increasing their range. That's a double-edged sword, because the fact that these trenches are here means that the cavalry, you're right, the cavalry has to funnel through this one single spot, but what that also means is that ranged cavalry usually sits behind a melee attacker, meaning that they overlap in range, meaning that that limits your ability to tank both units at the same time if you're going to try to tank hits and kill on enemy phase. There are tons and tons of reinforcements on this map. They just keep on coming, and every single one of those reinforcements is a threat. They all present their own risks and threats to your team. So I can go over the units here right now, but that's really just kind of the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. But regardless, let's take a look at the initial wave of units that are on the map. Tiki herself is pretty ridiculous. I mean, she has 49 defense, 39 resistance, 60 attack, 88 HP. She's got, she's rocking those abyssal stats, and she's sitting planted on a defense tile. So those defensive stats are that much harder to deal with if you're going to be going into her. Now, and Tiki has Divine Mist as her weapon, as most of you know, has built-in distant counter, also has adaptive damage, and is effective against dragon foes, which doesn't really come into play against my team, but she also has Bonfire at a one-turn cooldown. Which means if you attack into her or she attacks into you, that bonfire is going to go off, and with that 49 defense, that's going to hurt a whole heck of a lot. The only exception to that is if you're using sweep weapons, or if you're using, for example, Brave Veronica or a healer, something that would be able to poke at her from a distance and not give her the opportunity to counterattack. She has Fierce Breath, which is a powerful breath skill, allows her an additional cooldown effect when she is being attacked. She also gets an attack boost when she's being attacked. She comes with Bold Fighter on her B slot, which means that she's going to double you no matter what if she initiates her attack. Her C slot with everyone is basically a Fortify buff for her and her allies that are adjacent to her, as long as she's adjacent to an ally. Any type of ally, doesn't matter what the movement type is, they will get a defense and res +5 boost, which is very, very powerful. And then she comes with Hardy Bearing, which is deceptively evil. So Hardy Bearing means that, again, unless you're using a sweep weapon, you can't use Desperation, for example, to double her and then kill her without retaliation. She's always going to be able to counter. You can't count on Vantage to be able to bait her on enemy phase and then, initiate a special and kill her before she has a chance to attack. Hardy Bearing disallows that opportunity. So again, really, really tricky. You kind of have to figure a way out for your team to be able to work around that. We've got this Sword Fighter here who has double distant defense, which is absurd. Barrier Blade, which gives +7 res. Later there's a Sword Fighter who has double close defense. There's a Grandraven Cavalier up here. There's a bow fighter over here. The Slaying Bow plus Swift Sparrow. We have a Lance Cavalier who has Heavy Blade Gale Force and a Brave Lance, so be wary of that, because if they activate Gale Force, then they can kind of run amok and run through your team. And then there's this Red Mage who that has Rauder Owl. So that is the initial wave of enemies. We'll talk about each wave as they get presented. Let's now take a look at the team, see what adjustments we had to make in order to make this map work. So we'll start with Vanilla Camilla here. So Vanilla Camilla merged at +10. She is the only merged unit on this team. She has Camilla's Axe, Reposition. She actually has Miracle for the special, Distant Counter for the A slot, Renewal for the B slot to keep her health up. She's going to be tanking a lot of hits throughout the course of this very long and arduous map. Hone Flyers for the C slot, and Close Defense 3 for the Seal. That is going to be critical in tanking a couple of hits and being able to survive on enemy phase. Similarly, Miracle is going to come into play in a very similar way, allow her to be able to tank those hits and survive so that she can live to fight another day, basically. Next up, we're going to take a look at Spring Camilla here. So Spring Camilla, she's Summoner supported. She has Grondblade, Reposition, Blazing Thunder for the special, Close Counter for the A slot, Renewal 3 for the B slot, Goad Flyers for the C slot, and Iote Shield for the Seal. So Iote Shield for the Seal will allow her to run Grondblade, get that kind of unmitigated damage from Grondblade while still being able to tank archers, which is going to come into play. Blazing Thunder for the special. Actually, this special doesn't even come into play at all. I was mixing around and switching out different skills. Blazing Thunder was one of the ones that I was trying to use towards the end, and on this playthrough it didn't come into play at all. So if you're going to be using this as a strategy, you don't need Blazing Thunder. You can swap it out for really any special at all. Close Counter does come into play. You won't see Spring Camilla actually counter in close range to any meaningful effect. However, it does force the AI to move in a certain way, and I'll point that out later. Renewal 3 for the B slot is going to allow her to keep on trucking after taking a number of hits. Next up, we're going to take a look at Sketchy Summer Camilla. Blarblade build, Reposition, Death Blow, Desperation, Fortify Flyers, and Hone Speed 3. So she has Ether for her special again to be able to heal herself back and tank some hits towards the late game. Death Blow instead of Fury, again in order to maintain her health pool and also increase the amount of damage that she inflicts upon doubling. And Hone Speed for the Seal, that's going to come into play in a couple of instances where I need that double and I'm just a couple of speed points shy for some of the other allies, most notably New Year's Camilla.
Yes.
Speaking of which, New Year's Camilla is running a Slaying Edge, Reposition, Gale Force build, a Heavy Blade for the Seal as usual. We've gone ahead and swapped out her A slot for Brazen Attack and Defense 3. That is going to provide her with a much needed attack and defense boost. Desperation for the B slot, and Goad Flyers for the C slot. So more or less, this map just does not let you rest, and so you really want to be able to take out as many units as you can on enemy phase, which will allow you to follow up and finish off other enemies on player phase, so you can constantly take units out because it's very, very easy to get overrun. So on turn 1, we want to take out as many units as we can. What we're going to do, we'll move Vanilla Camilla up here, and this will put her in the range of the Green Cavalier, and she'll be able to tank and double back and kill him on enemy phase. Summer Camilla, we're moving right here so that she's in the range of the Red Mage. We're moving everybody else behind just to provide the appropriate buffs for the following turn. Okay, so we tank and kill there. There's some shifting around, and we tank and kill there. Okay. So on turn 2, I want to note Summer Camilla can't take out the Bowfighter by herself without buffs, so we want to save her turn for last. The first thing we're going to do, we'll use New Year's Camilla to initiate on the Sword Fighter double, and proc Gale Force in the process. She now is in a Brazen Attack and Defense range, which will help her tank some hits a little later on. And we'll attack again, eliminate the Sword Fighter on this turn, And now we'll reposition her back to safety.
Yes.
And then we'll move Vanilla Camilla up in the range of Tiki. We want to take out Tiki early on because she is a threat. Her C slot with everyone is going to be a huge issue down the line if we allow her to survive and we allow her to buff the other units in the area. So we want to just eliminate her right now if we can, and the best way to do that is to bait her off of the defensive tile. So we're just going to put Vanilla Camilla there. And now, Summer Camilla on this tile has enough buffs to be able to take out the Bowfighter this turn. Wonderful. So we tank those hits. Camilla now has Miracle, so she can survive that Bold Fighter double. And that leaves Tiki exposed on this turn. This Lance Cavalier moved down onto the trench, and he does this because New Year's Camilla has the Brazen attack and defense. She has that defensive boost, which forces the Lance Cavalier to move down. This is important because the Lance Cavalier would move here, and that actually is really annoying because there's a Sword Flyer that spawned that has Aerobatics. And Aerobatics greatly enhances her mobility. She would be able to teleport past the wall and right here, which just creates a giant cluster of enemies that you don't want to deal with all at once, and that's going to come into play a little bit later. The new units that have spawned, we have this Troubadour, who is the bane of my existence. She is absolutely horrible. She has Trilemma, she has Res Ploy, and obviously she has the dazzling effect, so you can't bait and kill her on counterattack. And what's more, they designed the Troubadour with Trilemma and this Axe Cavalier here with Cancel Affinity 3. So they did this purposefully to set up this combination where the Troubadour can basically create the Trilemma effect on your characters, even the ones that would normally have an advantage, such as my New Year's Camilla, for example. And then this Axe Cavalier has Cancel Affinity 3, so that this Axe Cavalier would be able to do still great damage against any red units. So it's really annoying. Speaking of this Axe Cavalier, comes with Glimmer, 2-turn cooldown, Slaying Hammer, be able to take out some armors, Sturdy Blow 2, and then you got Odd Attack Wave 3, which is the wave skills are actually pretty powerful, pretty potent when properly used and staggered. This Red Cavalier that just spawned has the ever-potent Rotter Blade, along with Death Blow, Rally Defense Res, and Draconic Aura. It's already a pretty powerful combination, and he also comes with Chill Attack 3, which is very annoying. It's going to cripple your heaviest hitter on your team, so you want to be mindful of that. The Green Mage comes with Rex Caliber, so just a powerful, potent weapon with an attack refinement, Life and Death 3, Dull Range 3 to sort of handicap your Blade Tome units, and then Even Speed Wave 3 and Attack Plus 3. So with all of those attack modifiers, we're looking at 60 attack, 43 speed, which is not too bad for a Green Mage. A Green Mage that also really can't be taken out too easily with a Blade Tome, again, because of that Dull Range 3. And then we've got the Bow Cavalier down at the bottom here. A bow unit's always going to be annoying against a flyer team, but comes with Guard 3, Shining Bow, Bracing Bow. The most annoying thing about this unit is the fact that they are, in fact, a Bow Cavalier. Nothing really exceptional about their stats, but the fact that they are a Bow Cavalier, a ranged Cavalier, a physical ranged Cavalier, especially against a flyer team, is going to make him a threat. So, this next turn, what we want to do is we want to take out Tiki. That is priority number 1, and we can do that by using Spring Camilla. So you'll note that Spring Camilla has the buffs from both Vanilla Camilla, the Hone Flyers buff, and Summer Camilla, the Fortify Flyers buff. So she has all of the buffs for her Grand Blade. She's fully decked out, and that means that she can one-shot Tiki's remaining health. And so we're going to just do that right now. Now that she's out of the way, we just kind of want to retreat back, fall back a little bit, and take out the Lance Cavalier on enemy phase. And the way we do that is we just do some nifty repositioning. We're going to reposition Spring Camilla back so that she is in the range of the Bow Cavalier. She wants to be able to take out the Bow Cavalier on enemy phase. That's why we have this Iota Shield on her. Next, we're going to use Vanilla Camilla to reposition Summer Camilla back. And lastly, we're going to use New Year's Camilla to reposition Summer Camilla to safety. And this is actually where both Iota Shield and Close Counter come into play. The Lance Cavalier at this point, or next turn I should say, has the option of attacking either Spring Camilla or regular Camilla, Vanilla Camilla, and in either instance, he dies. So the fact that we put close counter on Spring Camilla means that no matter which way the Lance Cavalier goes, he's going to end up dying on enemy phase, and that's important. Yep. So Spring Camilla tanks that with the help of Iote's shield, kills on enemy phase, and similarly, Vanilla Camilla takes out that Lance Cavalier. Perfect. Okay. So now we have a cluster of mages. It's actually a huge threat up here. And the way we want to take them out, they both have pretty respectable resistance, unfortunately. The easiest way to do this is to use New Year's Camilla and her Gale Force shenanigans. And that is precisely why we have Summer Camilla down here with both Fortify Flyers and Hone Speed 3. This will allow, one, New Year's Camilla to have the speed necessary to double these units on player phase, this whopping 43 speed, for example. And second, it'll allow New Year's Camilla to be able to tank hits next turn. So it has a dual advantage there. So we're going to reposition New Year's Camilla up so she's in range, and then she can initiate and double the Green Mage. She actually needs the full buffs from the entire team to be able to secure that double, so it is very important. And then she can just move up and eliminate the Red Cavalier. Those are the two major threats right now. The third major threat is really this Troubadour on the side, who again is just a giant nuisance throughout the entire course of the map. But for the time being, she's far enough away that we don't have to worry about her. We're just going to reposition New Year's Camilla to safety. This trench works in our favor now because this Axe Cavalier can't access and attack any of our units. We are in the range of this Thief, but both Vanilla Camilla and New Year's Camilla can tank the Thief on this turn, so we're okay with doing that. The next movement we make is actually deceptively important. We're actually going to move Spring Camilla over to this tile. The reason we do that is because that's actually going to manipulate the AI to our advantage. This Sword Flyer is going to move down to try to initiate against Spring Camilla, and the Troubadour will move over to this side to try to initiate against Vanilla Camilla and New Year's Camilla. The reason why that's so important is, one, because of the overlapping ranges, and also this Sword Fighter is absolutely obnoxious, especially when paired with the Troubadour. She has this aerobatics which allows her to swoop in, and it's just really obnoxious to have to work around. She doesn't do a lot of damage. Her attack stat is actually fairly low at 47, but the fact that she has aerobatics allows her to swoop in and finish off any of your allies. So that's really the threat, and separating those two units is critical on this turn. So we're going to move Spring Camilla right over here, and that will separate them off. Okay, so on this turn, this Red Cavalier just spawned. Ridiculous stats as usual, 44 resistance, Fury, Quick Riposte, Res Ploy, and most notably Panic Ploy. Panic Ploy is going to be really annoying. This entire column is going to be just a dead zone for any Hone and Fortify buffs. And then this other red Manakee just spawned in the corner down here. Cancel Affinity, again designed to work with the Troubadour's Trilemma. Water Breath, Brazen Defense and Res to boost that defense and res stat. So you want to be able to take her out in one turn if you can, just so you don't have to deal with that boosted defense and res. And that's precisely what we're going to do on this turn. The first thing we want is to eliminate the Axe Cavalier. Axe Cavalier has the most range of all of the units here and does the most damage, or most physical damage of all of the units here. So we'll use New Year's Camilla to eliminate the Axe Cavalier. She's going to double, activate Gale Force, which is great. And now we're going to reposition her back. And that will give enough buffs to Summer Camilla to be able to activate Ether on the red Manakee and take her out on player phase. And now we're going to leave Spring Camilla where she is. Now the next move is very purposeful. We want to move New Year's Camilla down here, and the reason we want to do this is because we want to get her out of the range of the Troubadour. The Troubadour will be able to attack any of the Camillas except for New Year's Camilla, and New Year's Camilla is the only one that is at risk of dying to the Troubadour. So we want to make sure that she is safely away. This Sword Flyer, like I said, is crazy tanky on player phase, on your player phase, but has pretty pitiful attack at 47. So with the current health ranges of the units on my team, I'm not really too worried or concerned about tanking a hit from the Sword Flyer. So we'll just move New Year's Camilla down here. And something else to note, we're now out of the range of the Thief in the corner, which is really actually very important. The reason why we wanted to make sure to do that is because not only does the Thief have Savage Blow, the Thief also has Poison Strike, and the Thief will debuff all of your team. And that's something you really can't afford at this stage. So the next thing we want to do is eliminate the Sword Flyer. We can do this with Summer Camilla. Summer Camilla has the Trilemma effect, which actually works to her benefit. The Sword Flyer has 43 resistance, which is absolutely ridiculous, but we're going to use Summer Camilla, move her down here, and snipe out the Sword Flyer, doing 77 damage. So next up, if you take a look at the range of the Red Cavalier, the only safe region is going to be these 3 tiles, or these 4 tiles, I guess, in the corner here. So we just want to start shifting ourselves back, making room, providing ourselves the buffs that we need to be able to take out the units on player phase next turn. So we do this by shifting Spring Camilla up here to safety. We're going to then use New Year's Camilla to reposition Summer Camilla to safety in the corner. This also allows Vanilla Camilla to have just enough buffs with Spring Camilla's help to be able to take out the Troubadour on player phase. Now Vanilla Camilla is still going to be in the range of the Red Cavalier, which would normally kill her, but Vanilla Camilla has Miracle at the ready for the second time, so that is going to save her. She's not going to get doubled, so she's going to be able to survive and retaliate back on that turn. She's not going to kill the Red Cavalier outright, but she will strongly cripple him. So let's take out the Troubadour right now. The Panic Ploy comes into effect, but Vanilla Camilla is not in the range of any Hone or Fortify Flyer buffs, so doesn't really matter. Okay, so after proccing Miracle, Vanilla Camilla is none the worse for wear. We're just down to 2 units left, home stretch, and this last corner in the bottom here is the safe zone. So all we're going to do, we're going to reconfigure ourselves so that the Camillas are getting the appropriate buffs, and let the enemy come to us. So we're just going to move New Year's Camilla down, move Vanilla Camilla here so that she is giving the appropriate buff to Summer Camilla, the Hone Flyers buff to Summer Camilla, and then we're just going to sit tight, wait for them to advance. Okay. And now we're in prime positioning. We just let Summer Camilla do the work, double and eliminate the Thief on player phase, and then we will just reposition Vanilla Camilla up to finish off the Red Cavalier. And that is it. That is my extremely long-winded explanation of clearing Legendary Dragon Tiki's Legendary Hero Battle on Abyssal difficulty with Camilla Emblem. This one was a doozy. I have to say, it's probably the hardest challenge in the game thus far, especially if you're not using merged units, especially if you're not using dancers. And like I said, Camilla Emblem has kind of an issue with dealing with this many staggered red mages over and over and over again. So let me know what strategies and teams you ended up using to clear Legendary Dragon Tiki on her Abyssal Legendary Hero Battle map. Bonus points if you were able to clear it without Brave Veronica, without a Dancer, or without Wings of Mercy or Escape Route. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. And until next time, let's protect those skies.